Start with your. Is it on? Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Just start with your name, business title, just kind of like an introduction.
Yeah. How's it? My name is James Webb. I am the head dishwasher at Alii Coffee Company.
Yeah. Perfect. That's it.
I write that once in a while, but I really own it. But I'm a co-owner, founder actually, of Alii Coffee Company, and yeah.
What is the name Aliʻi, first of all? That's like a big one for us, because we're like, we know what Aliʻi is, but where did you come up with the name Aliʻi?
So Aliʻi is not that we feel like we're Aliʻi, but I was working at Aulani. My kids were going to Tutu and Me, and I was in Kamehameha preschools with my kids all the time, and I was just actually immersed in Hawaiian culture at the moment, even though I grew up here. And so when I was thinking about a name, Aliʻi came up, and it's not that I feel like we are Aliʻi. I feel like we want to serve people like they're Aliʻi. So that when you come in here, you can, and when you have a really good cup of coffee in the right ambiance and place, you can almost feel like a king or a queen. I mean, that's how I feel. So.
And that makes sense with the titles. That's dope.
And
super dope.
Also, if you really want the whole Christian side of it, I named it because we are a royal priesthood and a holy nation, and that's what I named it for, Alii Coffee. And I don't ever tell people that. That's just a few people, and because it talks about showing your light at the end of that scripture, and so.
Dude, what is the scripture?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
We'll find it.
So,
I was just wondering.
But really being a royal priesthood, and that's what we are. And I'll always pray with my crew when we start up, like, God, make us a light in the community so we're in. So
that's so awesome.
That's
the communities you're in. Can you talk a little bit about why Chinatown?
So
why? I mean, even if it's like it was all that was available. Ward, Waikiki. Explain the little like where God's put you.
Yeah. So I got Chinatown. I was looking all over with my business partner. We're looking for places. No money, just like like literally, it's a joke how we started, and I think we had 12 grand, like because from farmers markets. I mean, and we borrowed 20 grand, and we opened our first shop with $32,000, and God doing miracles. Like we watched one thing happen after another. I pray enough, and he sees God pull miracles and miracles and miracles, and he's just always like, yeah. As soon as James prays, something happens. but anyway, so our Chinatown, that one happened. My dad went to a funeral. We was looking for places. Things were kept shutting down. We were looking for another place. It shut down. We'd have people drag their feet, and then my dad goes to the funeral, sees some old friends, and they're like, oh, my daughter's moving out of this location. So we end up finding this Chinatown location. That's where we first. Before I got my first location, God had spoke to me when we were doing farmers markets. He goes, your second location is going to be in Waikiki, and a hotel is going to ask you to go into it. And I was like, okay, whatever, God, yeah. I don't even have a first location. Why are you telling me about my second one? And then I'm going out to the farmers market with my business partner that day, and God goes, tell him. And I was like, you crazy. And so I was like, all right, God. No, I spent the whole day arguing with God. No, I'm not telling him. You crazy. We don't have a first location. Why am I going to tell him that a hotel is going to ask us to go into it for our second location? So by the end of the day, I'm driving back into my house with all my stuff in the truck, I'm from the farmer's market. And I'm like, so this morning I was praying, and I just kind of had this thing. God told me that our second location is going to be in Waikiki, and a hotel is going to ask us to go into it. And that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
So, and I was able to look back and say, hey, do you remember when I told you that? And he was like, yeah, that's crazy. And so we had a kind of a struggle. So we start building out Waikiki. And as we're building out Waikiki, we get the keys on February 21st of 2020. And
oh my gosh, right?
Then
COVID.
Then as we're building out, they're like, I just watched Waikiki disappear into nothing. And I'm like demoing the place. And I'm going, God, you said this is where we're supposed to be. You said this is what we're doing. And I'm just like, what is going on? And I'm starting to get angry, starting to get frustrated. I'm starting to, the governor's telling me, we're going to open up. oh, we're not. And then so I'd be like, okay, you want to work for us? We're going to hire you. And then, oh, sorry, you can't. And so I started doing all that. And at the beginning of this whole time, God told me, hey, are you willing to lose everything for the sake of the harvest that's coming after this? And I was like, God, you're bigger than that. You're bigger than that. And, you know, I had worked for 5 years before I got paid, and my first paycheck was $250. Like, I don't know if that's, when I opened our downtown location, we'd work, both my business partner, we were we didn't have any employees, we'd work our day job, and then we'd run to our night jobs. And that's just what we did for like the first year. And it was wild. I didn't even have my roaster in our shop, so on some nights I didn't work, my roaster was in my garage, and I'd be eating dinner in front of my roaster while my family's eating dinner upstairs. Wow. And it, you know, I mean, so I'm thinking like, God, give up this whole thing for, you know, God, you're big, you can do both, you know. And finally, I was so angry and I was so frustrated, and I finally just surrendered to God. I said, God, you know what? And I was just bawling. I said, God, whatever, you know what? The business is yours anyway. You can do whatever you want with it. And I'm willing to lose it. I'm willing to lose anything, because you know what? People coming to know you is way more important than my business. And from that, God gave me this one. so anyway, right after that, that was done in May. So I was trying to get my second one done by our second anniversary. So I was trying to get Waikiki done by our second anniversary. I realized it wasn't opening, so I finished building that out in May. Had the peace of God because I just surrendered it to Him. Okay, God, whatever, you know, I'm willing. And then we go to our, right about June, we start talking like, hey, we have all this equipment down here in this Waikiki location. Doesn't look like they're opening anytime soon. I'm in the middle of a hotel. I can't even open my doors if I wanted to. The money's just sitting there, right, not doing anything for us. So we end up looking for. We go. What if we get a turnkey location? We just yank all the equipment out, shove it in, and go. And so I asked my sister, who's my real estate person, and I said, first of all, I prayed and I said, God, make it easy if this is what you want us to do. So I asked her. The next day, she had this location for us.
Wow.
So, but you know, they took a long time, and so we were in Waikiki opened in the meantime, and then we dragged our feet a little bit because we were like, oh, I want to wait till the COVID's a little bit better, and we finally got the keys. I think in March of this year, and opened up in May 24th.
Wow, that's so crazy. That's a faith journey, man.
Yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit about your story.
Okay.
Before, like, tell me a little bit about your past and going into, where did like coffee come from? Like what is where did it all tie in?
Got it. So, as I grew up, my dad was a pastor, and I grew up and I was molested by two different pastors' sons.
Wow.
So one was when I was 5 years old, and then another one was from when I was 5 to 8. And that guy was a family member, and he just kept repeat. He was around us a lot, so things happened, and he would take and do the different things. And by the time I was about 10, 11, 12, somewhere in that, I stuffed everything down, and then I started waking up crying, and then I was like, what is going on? And I started remembering what happened to me, and kind of went on this crazy, started to get involved in drugs and alcohol, self-medicate. By the time I was 15, I was a meth addict and alcoholic, running away from home, doing all kind of crazy stuff, just trying to get away from anybody. And I was a meth addict and alcoholic till I was 29. And try to get sober, couldn't do it. I was so bitter because I dreamed of every day of shooting the guys in the face who molested me. And ended up selling drugs, getting pretty heavily into the whole meth scene and everything else. And
that was here locally?
Here locally. And one day, I was tired of my lifestyle, because I had all the drugs, the girls, the things that I thought was going to make me happy, and money, and I was like, I still am empty. I'm smoking a couple $100s of meth a day, drinking a bottle of Crown Royal a day, and going to bars and blowing big money every night at bars because I didn't know what to do with my money. And I still had that empty hole in me, that God-shaped hole that I was trying to fill with all this other stuff. So one day I stared at the sky and said, God, I want to change, and I don't know how. Those magical words. And 1 week later, I was doing a drug deal at Aliʻi Bakery, and here came the feds.
You said where?
Aliʻi Bakery. Like, I mean, just like the movies, guns drawn, like,
wow.
just like the movies, bro. It was pretty nuts, and got set up. But I went into jail cell that night, and I got on my knees and I said, God, I tried it my way, and I had my hands in the air, and I said, whatever you want me to do, I'll do. And he instantly delivered me from the meth. I had no withdrawals. I had no withdrawals from alcohol. Alcohol withdrawals will kill you. Just took it all away. I mean, I had no withdrawals. And parents bailed me out, had to go to jail. I went to prison after that for a number of years, or not super long, but a few years. And got out. And
then what happened?
And just kind of went on all this whole kind of crazy, but I got busted in 2001. I'm still sober today, from what God.
Congratulations.
So 20 years. I just made 20 years in May.
Congratulations.
For real.
I didn't think I could make it a day without, like literally, I wouldn't make it a day without drugs or alcohol. And so I'm 20 years sober now.
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome.
So, and it's all God, man. I mean, it's wild.
I always wonder, like, how do people do it without God now that I've had them? You know what I mean? It's like,
Seriously.
that's how desperate we are to, like, any way we can invade God in someone's life. Because it's like, because even with God, we still have hard times, right? So imagine
without him.
Without, like,
Totally.
I just understand, like, you know, that those are scary places to be. And I just praise God that you drew near. Because what does he say? Draw near to me and I'll draw near to you,
That's right.
son.
That's right.
And that's what he did in your story. I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, we've had similar stories. Not the FBI.
Yeah, no FBI.
We don't have that.
Jail though, jail.
Yeah, we have a little bit of the jail, drugs, alcohol,
yeah.
and because that's how we met, was we're in drug scenes. And
Wow.
so, you know, God's good.
Yeah.
And then so when you got out, I'm just interested how God brought you out, and then coffee, like,
So
connect the dots.
I'll tell you. I was a 12-year-old kid, kind of a weird kid, and I don't know if I date myself, but Mac and Ernie in Ala Moana. I don't know if you guys remember that. Mac and Ernie in Ala Moana was it was like a department store in Ala Moana, and it was a local department store, like Liberty House or whatever. And they had a little tiny coffee bar. And when I was 12, me and my friends would sip espresso, and I would save my pennies for espresso instead of kakimochi or craxi. I would sip espresso and dream of opening my own coffee shop with my friends.
Wow.
And so it's kind of interesting how God takes you full circle.
Mm-hmm.
So I got out of prison. I ended up working at a roofing and painting company, two things I hated doing. I told God I never want to do. I was doing that. Then I worked at River of Life at the homeless place for about 4 or 5 years, where I met my wife. And she was a nurse. All the nursing students had to come through and spend a day with me, and she kept coming back to volunteer. Anyway, so that's how that one happened. And then I was a youth pastor for a little while. And
where was that at?
Grace Bible.
Grace Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my kids started being born, and I realized my whole paycheck is going to go to someone else watching my kids. And I just said, man, I can't imagine someone else raising my kids so I stayed at home with my daughters. I did valet at night, and just to make ends meet. But I started wondering what fresh coffee tastes like. I bought a little tiny roaster, looked like a toaster oven, started roasting coffee. I bought off Craigslist. Didn't even know where to get coffee. I went to Waialua to buy coffee, green beans, and it was like $18.99 a pound. I was thinking to myself, I can't even afford to drink this. And then just kind of started taking it a little further, like met had friends introduce me to other guys so I could get beans from at a better price, learn how to roast.
It's a new drug.
Started getting, God doesn't waste anything.
No.
Because I'm still weighing out stuff for my my coffee beans. I'm still weighing out stuff for pour overs.
It's like the Peter, right? He was a fisher, but he made him a fisher of men, right?
Exactly. So, and I just went, oh my gosh, God, you took me full circle from a dream I had as a kid, and now I'm doing it. You know, it's kind of amazing how God just, and He doesn't waste talents. I was selling drugs, I'm slanging coffee now. So
That's actually awesome, man. We might keep that.
Legal drugs.
Legal drugs.
But,
it is, man. It's so good.
But yeah, and so I started looking, and I was flipping cars for this guy. I was just doing anything to make ends meet when my kids were, you know, sleeping, taking a nap. I'm learning to roast coffee. I'm reading. I'm doing all this. I'm flipping cars and stuff for this guy, just trying to make extra money. And then he tells me, hey, if you want to save up some money to invest with me, then you can make more of the pie. And I was like, okay. So I was saving a little bit. And then finally I told my wife, you know what, I want to start a company of coffee roasting. And so I said, I want to buy a roaster. And she's like, okay. And I had that money saved. And so I bought a roaster, and I started going from there, and started roasting in my garage. As I was roasting in my garage, and just started snowballing. I went to coffee roasting school in the mainland a couple times.
How long is that school?
This is like a week. I already kind of knew what I was doing, but they kind of just helped refine my...
Yeah, probably just confirm, you know, what you...
Yeah, I mean, I did learn a lot. The first time I went, the second time I was like, oh, I'm already...
You're there.
Yeah, I didn't even need to go, but I got a couple, like 2 words of advice that was probably worth the thousands of dollars I spent. But yeah, so that's how that whole thing...
How many employees do you have now?
We have 17, and we're about to hire 2 more. So I'll have 19 employees coming. And it was just me and my business partner. It seemed like just the other day, it was just both of us, you know, slanging drinks, making food behind the bar.
Yeah, we know that feeling.
And then all of a sudden I turn around, I'm like, wait, what?
What's next for Aliʻi Coffee?
What's next? I have a really good opportunity in Kauai. And I just kind of put whatever God opens in front of me, I just say, okay, God, is this what you want me to do? And I just kind of pray a lot, and then I walk through it. So I'm meeting with some architects tomorrow to draw up the plans, to see, because I need to know whether it, you know, you can't get a price on anything unless you have the architectural plans, right? Yeah. So anyway, that's happening tomorrow.
Wow. Wow, that's big.
And I already have the space. I flew over there and checked it out. It's my sister's, and it's like the most cherry spot in this brand new mall that they built in Kualoa town.
Wow.
So
that's sick, man.
Yeah, it's hard enough on this island to open another one. Like I'm like, okay, God.
Well, I think, I don't know, it's like, you know, with coffee, I think you're in a win place, especially with the product you have and what I've tasted so far. I wouldn't worry.
Oh yeah, I haven't even made you guys your drinks.
Yeah. So when you say roaster, that means that's your beans, or what does that mean? I'm like.
So I have 2 coffee roasters in my downtown location, and I started off as a coffee roaster. I just really wanted to roast coffee.
What does that mean? Does that mean like?
So we get green. I'll show you if we want to go down there after.
Yeah.
We'll go over there, and I'll show you the green beans. I'll show you what it looks like
so
before
you
you
take the
roast.
fresh beans.
Yeah, and we roast it in our beautiful roasters, and they look like steampunk engines. You know, like they're beautiful. They're big doll.
I might be getting a roaster. I get into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Oh, so we roast everything. So basically, you have different roast profiles that you do all this like stuff to make your coffee taste great. And so I finally turned it over. I hired a guy just a little while ago to train him to how I want him to roast it. So I'm not actually roasting anymore.
That must have been hard.
I knew I needed to turn it over. I'm not gonna grow.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I had to, right? So it was a part of a relief. I was kind of like, finally, because literally I'd be like taking orders, making drinks, and my roaster was over here, and my business partner's making food behind me, and I'm like, and I'm like running around the bar and like turning my thing down and running back and forth. Like that's how we had to work it back in the day.
I kind of miss those days, but I don't.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like I have a little
Yep.
thing, but I'm like, I don't really want.
There was a day I had to hang my pouch.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I haven't put on my pouch for a while. There was a day I had to turn it over.
And it was hard, right?
It was, but at the same time, I was like, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. I get it.
Yeah. Anything you want to expand on? Anything else you want to add? Like it won't. When we show it, it'll probably be more of like a 2-minute part. But anything that you feel like we missed that you want to share?
One thing that I mean, it's kind of funny. We started as coffee roasters, and we get accolades for our food all the time. it's hilarious.
I did see the food on your Instagram.
Pictures looked really good.
Yeah.
So we won. I think it was like the beginning of the year. We opened in May of 2019, May 4th of 2018. Sorry, and then right at the beginning of the new year, I get this notification that says Yelp named you 45 in the whole nation of places to eat for 2019. I was
places to eat.
and I was like, no, but I was like, in Hawaii, 45 in Hawaii. I put it back in my pocket. And I'm like, wait, did that say? And it was like the whole nation. We won like 45 in the nation of places to eat based on reviews, based on all. And I was just like, I started crying again. Like, God, only you can do something like that from, like, we're like nobodies, you know? Like, how are we going to get accolades like that? So that
is crazy. So that means I'm gonna come here and eat.
Please do.
Yeah. Does your family work at all, or just you?
My wife, so she doesn't actually work in here with me, but she does like behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Like she's sending out surveys to my employees. She's trying to like get us, because I mean we basically went from nobody to
boom.
Yeah. So she's trying to do the back stuff to help us grow better. So
that's awesome, man. I love it. I think that's good. Yeah. James' story is dope.
I know.
Yeah.
I need to make your drinks. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
No, you're good.